In this video, we will be looking at similarities between the development of many organisms. While females only produce one egg cell, males produce millions of sperm cells. Life begins when the egg cell and sperm cell fuse together. The resulting cell's nucleus has both paternal and maternal DNA. All future cells come from this original cell. Here we see the fusion of two nuclei and the subsequent division of cells. From this individual cell, we get 1,000 cells in a fully grown adult worm. This process takes around 3 days. The age of all embryos can be determined by how far they have developed. In the zebrafish, these cells develop on top of the yolk. The initial cluster of cells is called the morula. The embryo now undergoes blastulation, which is seen by the development of the blastoderm. Blastulation happens when liquid comes in, forming a cavity called the blastocele. Throughout this process, the cells are still dividing. For the frog embryo, each division usually takes around 30 minutes. Looking inside the blastocyst, we see the inner cell mass. These cells give rise to the rest of the animal, while the trophoblast makes the placenta. The embryo now undergoes gastrulation, forming 3 distinct cell layers. Here we see the cells forming a disc. Looking at this disc from the top view, we can clearly see cellular migration. The line seen here shows cells moving inside the disc. A cross-section of this process clearly shows the 3 layers developing. The cells seen here form the mesoderm by tugging into the interior of the embryo. The mesoderm cells eventually form the lining of the gut, the muscles, skeleton, and other internal tissues. The outside layer is called the ectoderm, which mainly form our skin and nervous system. This layer is the easiest to see developmentally. Here we can see the neural groove forming by the deepening of the neural folds. This leads to the neural tube, which is the precursor to our central nervous system. Somates begin to form around the neural tube. These mesodermal blocks of cells form our muscles, tendons, and cartilage. By looking at the somates, one can tell the age of the embryo. The somates develop differently between different embryos. In this fly embryo, it is easy to see segmentation by looking at the somates. In this human embryo, we can clearly see the somates as well as the heartbeat and many other organs. Despite the diversity of animals, development is basically the same, with a few minor changes, like the yolk in zebrafish. Eventually, the embryos differ so much, as we could see the formation of hands in this human embryo. The embryo is now becoming to look more like a baby and eventually will be born.